or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance Agency has the agents and solutions to help meet your goals. Call 402-420-5353 or email staff at brokersinsurancene.com.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Hold up.
All right, here we go. Happy Monday, Blockheads. Welcome into On the Block. I'm Austin Norman. He's Husker Hall of Famer, 9-year NBA veteran Eric Strickland. Excited to be with you. Great weekend of sports across the country. Tough weekend for the Husker Hoop programs. We'll get into that. We'll talk some NFL Husker recruiting, the football side of things back in the news. We'll talk to Brian Munson about that. And as always, Cluster Johnson, 2:30 here on a Monday. Also, as always, On the Block presented to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let Charles and his crew fix you a plate. They're located at 27th and Pine Lake here in Lincoln. If you didn't get your Mary Ellen's last weekend for the big football games, that's okay. There's another weekend. Just make sure you get it this time because you don't want to miss out. The food is even better than the football was, which is hard to say. We had some good games, Strick.
Absolutely. There was some great football this weekend. Again, I've just been totally impressed with the way that the games have been played. I don't know if I can even say it's been badly officiated. I think it's been, you've had bad officiating years. Let's just go back to that Saints game when they, just like that is a pass interference if I've ever seen one. Like it's very obvious. You've had just some bad calls, but I don't think I've seen that this year. I think people are trying to harp a little bit on the Patrick Mahomes tackle because when they see it in slow motion, no. But I'm a little disappointed in what frustrates me. Sutter Heyman text line. Maybe if you agree with me on this is part of the reason where I kind of just cringe on football. 402-464-5685, because some of these roughing the passer calls, those are the ones where I'm like, what do you want the guy to do? He's 5'9", the quarterback is 6. Your helmet, even if you have your helmet up, is probably going to hit him if you get close enough to push him. And they're calling these. I'm like, what do you want the guy to do? Then you saw a situation. I can't remember who it was. I want to say it maybe was. I can't remember who it was that was trying to tackle him. But he had Dak Prescott in the end zone.
Yeah.
And he kind of let up because, you're kind of in that zone. Like, if I sling him down, I've seen people grab him and sling him down, and they've got roughing the passer penalties. And I'm like, that's what you don't want to do at the end of the game. No. So he kind of holds up. He doesn't go hard. And then you have that situation. Then you have quarterbacks that are on the sidelines sometimes, and they're kind of looking to dip. Like, you think they're going to dip out, and then they hit you with an in cut, and you don't want to hit them because they're doing all this protection stuff. So this is the kind of thing that kind of throws me off a little bit about football.
And it has for a while now. I mean, you get it. The quarterbacks are, in a lot of cases, the face of the league. You know, we talk about how important the quarterback position is in building around, and we got some good ones left now in the Final Four. Jalen Hurts, best year of his career. Patrick Mahomes doing Patrick Mahomes things. Joe Burrow, clearly a top 5 quarterback in the NFL now.
Facts.
And Brock Purdy. You know, you have good quarterbacks there.
Watch your mouth with Brock Purdy. Yes. Brock
Also,
Purdy.
Yeah.
What?
Still doing the thing.
Doing the doggone thing.
Still.
And so that was one of the things I want to talk to you about. But first, let's address Chase B on the Sutter Heyman text line. Another shout out. John Corlin, you're my guy. Always love you, man. Thank you so much. Hope you are well. Sorry you lost your father. John and Cortland, he's one of our favorite listeners. We appreciate you continuously on the Sutter Heyman text line. Hello, bad week. Just came out of a haze. Lost my dad. Okay, then he asked the question, where's Fred's comfort zone? Whoa, we're going to get into that. Hold on, John and Cortland. We do have our condolences here from On the Block. Austin and I, we do feel bad. But Chase B, where do you want to address this one? Austin, I want your take on this. So you saw the lineup. Freaking Ezekiel Elliott is the center. Mm-hmm. What were they trying to accomplish with that lineup?
It reminded me a lot of that Colts fake punt that was never supposed to be run against the Patriots. What's the point? Why? Mm-hmm. The only semi-rational thing that could happen is they were trying to throw it and get a lot of laterals going.
That looked like a freaking 7-on-7.
It did. But if you're going to do that and get all those laterals, take all the linemen out, right? If you're going to have a running back snap the ball, why do you need any offensive linemen at all? Get the ball out quick and, go play street ball from there.
Did you see him get bulldozed, though?
Oh, my gosh. That might be his last snap as a Cowboy, too. His potential last snap as a Cowboy. He's playing center and gets knocked on his can.
Oh, he got
by bulldozed. A linebacker.
Yeah, that was hilarious. But I didn't see where that was going. If you're going to do lateral action, you don't do a freaking curl.
Like a 7-yard hitch.
A 7-yard hitch right there in front of somebody. You got to do something where he's on the move, where you got a chance to get some separation. But
send other guys running the other way to maybe lateral it behind. I don't know, Mike McCarthy.
So I agree with Chase B there on this Honda Lincoln hotline. Okay. Bill and Bennett is addressing the question that we also had. The refs are biased towards big name quarterbacks. The Bengals will be playing against 2 teams in KC.
You're telling me Joe Burrow's not a big name quarterback, Bill? Come on. 2 big name quarterbacks.
That's a great one. I would have to agree with that. I think I really do think that ankle injury for Patrick Mahomes is going to be a tremendous hindrance to him. I will also say that as we address this game, I think that the Cincinnati Bengals benefited tremendously from the weather. The weather, having that snow, and I'll say why, because they were struggling on their offensive line as far as their pass protection. And if you're a downhill running team with secondary lineman types, it's easier to get downhill knowing that the snap count, you've got slippery conditions, and you've got a tremendous running back in Mixon. So I like how that can open it up a little bit. You've also got 2 number ones in Chase and Higgins, and then you throw in some extras with other guys just being able to get some stuff done. Boyd and guys like that. I just thought it benefited them tremendously. It looked like there was a lot of frustration also with Diggs, between Diggs. It looked like a lot of tension. I hate that for them because you don't ever want that hindrance. Hopefully they can mend that situation, whatever they got going on.
Right. It's funny because Cincinnati, we think about the passing game, how good Joe Burrow's become, the wide receiving core, even the tight end with Hayden Hurst has played a role. But Joe Mixon averaged 5 yards a carry, had a touchdown, got him out to the lead. Cincinnati had the ability to do that. Buffalo didn't, which surprised me. I mean, Josh Allen was their leading rusher. 8 times for 26 yards is all. I don't know if that's an indictment on Buffalo's offense or just a credit to Cincinnati's defense, because Lou Anarumo did a fantastic job, again, as the DC. The biggest thing, though, for the Bengals, they're wearing their white uniforms. They blended in. Bills couldn't see.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
No, there's more to it than that,
sure.
Obviously. But.
For sure. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Let's see what they can do. I'm kind of glad that we're not going to have a neutral, location game.
It's bad for
sports.
sports.
Worked out. Yeah.
Play home.
So
Play
I'm
at home.
glad to see that that's going to work out, especially for the Kansas City fans that, at this point, they would deserve it.
It's really funny to me because you heard in the post game, Joe Burrow said, yeah, better send those refunds. And, it's funny because he's talking some trash and yeah, they actually, get to move on. Like, the us against the world, people weren't picking us to thing. Cincinnati fans could buy tickets ahead of time too. They weren't just for sale for Chiefs and Bills fans. They could have booked their flights to Kansas City if they were that confident they were going to win. So that's a ridiculously hilarious line of thinking, if you ask me.
But that's how he is.
That's how
to you is Joe Burrow the new, because don't get it twisted. Tom Brady is a big troll.
Oh, he is.
He's a big troll.
Mm-hmm.
Is he the new troll of the football realm, the quarterback realm?
Could be. I could see it. I'm trying to think.
Because he to me, Joe Burrow comes off with Cam Newton, with a little Brady, then a swag. You see what I'm saying? He's got swag. He dresses certain ways. Cigar, comes in with the top hats and all the crazy looking outfits. Sometimes.
Yeah, I see where it comes
Talks
from.
a little bit. Yeah, he's got a little mix of everybody in him. Then he's kind of quiet, like an Aaron Rodgers or something like that. Or
he's his own guy, and it's awesome. And it's funny that he always does try to play the underdog role. I mean, last year it made sense when they went on their heater and they went to Kansas City and got it done. Everyone saw the Bengals coming this year, though. It's hard to play the underdog role. I get that they're the lower seed, but come on, people are taking you seriously.
Yeah.
We get it. You're here.
Yeah. I think it worked out the way that it was supposed to work out. Again, we're gonna give hand claps to Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. Defense is phenomenal. Offense is phenomenal. For the most part, they contained Christian McCaffrey and even Debo. They contained them. But here's what I said on the block. If you're an on the block listener, Stricky said it right here, and Austin can attest to it. I said, watch out for George Kittle. They have not used him all season, and I've got a feeling this is going to be a big game for George Kittle because their eyes are going to be on all these other weapons, and he's going to open it up, and that's what happened.
Catch of the postseason so far. That one-hander over the middle.
Oh.
Yeah, 5 for 95. That one went for 31. Caught all of his targets. Again, he's been so banged up, you kind of forget about it. With all the conversation around the trade for McCaffrey, with all the discussion around the quarterback position that they have. And it's all about, Kyle Shanahan and his wizardry. What we saw Mahomes and Kelsey do, George Kittle can do that.
Yes.
He can. He's a game breaker of that level.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I also want to give hand clap to Kelsey because you knew Kelsey was their guy, and he still murdered you on the field. They couldn't do anything with him. Even as you schemed for him, you still couldn't do nothing with him, and they gave him a chance to win it.
Absolutely did, because it's not a great wide receiving core. It's got role players, it's got dudes, but Travis Kelce is still that dude. Yeah. Plain and simple. He's number 1, 2, and 3 read for some plays on Mahomes. And it's one of those things, too, that it looks like half of what he does is improvised. It's him and Mahomes having that good a relationship, watching the same film, saying, hey, we get this, or even just in the heat of the moment, being able to understand defense well enough, what you want to do, what the defense wants to do against you, to find that open space. He's so good at that. It's incredible to watch.
I mean, it would be crazy. I think if they're playing the Rams, I think they'd probably try to put a Jalen Ramsey on him or somebody, because
I'm still bummed we didn't get a Rams-Chiefs Super Bowl.
You're still bummed about it?
That would have been a really good one.
Why?
Because remember that game they played in Mexico City?
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
We needed that in the Super Bowl. That was so much more entertaining than the 10-3 Patriots-Rams Super Bowl.
Yeah.
No one wanted that.
No one wanted
it was gross.
Okay. Well, shoot, I'm not against it. But unfortunately, listen, Sauter Heyman text line is always open, 402-464-5685. Great weekend of football. There were some basketball things out there. The Lakers had a tremendous 20-point plus comeback out there in Portland. I thought they were dead in the wind. Draymond Green talking about leaving the Golden State Warriors. Trade talks are going to start to ramp up a little bit. A lot of stuff going on there as well. State tournaments will start to solidify themselves as it's starting to come down the stretch. I mean, it's just a lot of things that's going on in sports. We're going to talk about it. But next up, we're going to have Cluster Johnson that's going to be joining us On the Honda of Lincoln hotline, next, we're going to talk a little bit about some things in football, how he viewed some of the stuff that happened this weekend as well. What's next for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, all those things to get into when we get back. Right here on 93.7 The Ticket, you are listening to On the Block. We'll be right back.
Sunday morning. It's quiet, not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect treat. Beatrice Bakery. Line at BeatriceBakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Hi, I'm Charlie Stone, and I'm back with Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, you said to me earlier you have a lot going on at the dealership. Can you tell our listeners about it?
Sure can, Charlie. As I've said before, if you don't see a vehicle on our lot that you're looking for, it's probably on its way soon.
So, how many new Hondas do you have in stock or on the way?
We have a total of over 325, Charlie, with a great selection of Pilots and Ridgelines in stock right now.
Well, we have been talking about the Honda of Lincoln way of buying cars for several months. How is that going?
People love it. We're buying all makes and models, whether they purchase a car from us or not. I mean, really, it's a no hassle, and we will pay them cash on the same day.
Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Hey guys, this is Lindsay Teal from Nebraska Golf Team. Imagine golfing the best courses in the world. St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, Southern Hills, the best of the best. You can play those courses more without leaving the city of Lincoln at Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle has the city's best golf simulators, 5 high-quality bays that track ball speed, launch angle, club speed, spin rate, and more to give you the most accurate gameplay. Check it out for yourself year-round. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West Oak Street.
Tune into the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday, 6 to 7 p.m. 93.7 Ticket. Here's stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team is unbeatable customer service promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Problem gambling affects more than the gambler. It affects spouses, children, extended family members, and friends. If you are a loved one who's struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 476-2300.
James Enterprise Incorporated, that company that hauls your gravel, rocks, and material for your farm or construction sites. Thank you to the people of the healthcare community for putting yourself in the way of danger to save the public. That is what it means to be a hero and to build a beautiful legacy. This message brought to you by James Enterprise Incorporated. For all your hauling of rock, gravel, and materials, call them at 402-432-6740. That's 402-432-6740.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality used equipment of their inventory, actually equipment, and it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play in sport at 48th and
Shopping for insurance can be and frustrating task. Agents at Brokers Insurance Agency will do the work for you. They have partnered with over 20 of the best insurance carriers in the nation, which allows them to do the shopping all for you. Whether business insurance or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance Agency has agents and solutions to help meet your goals. Call 402-420-5353 or email staff at brokersinsurance.com. And even be debilitating. Perhaps you've had trouble walking or even performing activities as simple as sitting down and standing up for years. There is good news thanks to QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics can assist with all types of pain in the knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints, whether due to an underlying chronic condition or a recent or even former accident or sports injury. Call QC Kinetics in Lincoln to 205-4270 or go to qckinetics.com.
A new year means new goals and upgrading, but that doesn't only apply to health and fitness. One can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2023 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2022 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just the 48th and Lake.
No taglines, just vehicles. Mullen Motors.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Patchy areas of fog this morning, then a mix of sun and clouds this afternoon, as we'll see a high of around 35. Winds out of the west-northwest at 10 to 15. Patchy areas of fog again tonight, a low down to 22. We'll see partly cloudy skies tomorrow with a high of around 33. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back on the block. Strick and Austin Orman here. Joining us on the Honda Lincoln Hotline is my friend, your friend, the friend of the block, Cluster Johnson, two-time national champion with the Huskers, joining us after a wonderful, wonderful divisional round of football. And we're going to get into that a little bit as well, have a few other discussions that are out there as well to talk about. Definitely want to talk about some Cowboys and where they ended up right now. And another disappointing year, 27 years now, they have not reached a Super Bowl. The Cowboys, and I'm going to throw this to Class. Class, what's up, man? How are you doing today?
Man, I'm good. I'm just happy to be here. Thanks for having me back again.
Yeah, man, we definitely love having you on the block. But I just want to throw this out, man. And listen, I've lived in Dallas for a long time before moving back to Nebraska. And one of the things that I consistently and constantly saw was it was a University of Nebraska football program type of deal where every year we're sold a dream. Jerry Jones comes out and he'll tell us, yeah, this is it. We got it. We got all the pieces we needed. The draft was phenomenal. We're ready to roll. Oh, we just signed this guy. Yep. Dak Prescott's ready. He's returned. He's about to go to the next level. Every year it feels like it's something like that. And every year I tell everybody that's Cowboy fans and all my friends, I say they're going to achy breaky heart you when time comes and it matters. So tell us about, is Dak the guy, Class? Is he the man? Because here's another problem that they have. Ezekiel Elliott got trucked at the end of the game with 6 seconds left. We did see that.
I saw that.
Yeah, we did see that. You definitely can see a decline in his game as well. I'm going to let you touch all points of this, but he signed a 6-year, $9 million deal in 2009. That guarantee that he was paid on that. He had a big, pretty good signing bonus on that deal as well. And then, so right now it looks as if the Cowboys will be on the hook for $11.8 million in dead salary cap space next season if they decide to cut Elliott. But if they decide to keep Elliott, they'll take a cap hit of $16.72 million, which is a difference of almost $5 million, $4.8 million to 4.86 to be exact. So with the emergence of Tony Pollard, even though he had a high ankle sprain, did that hurt their opportunities? Is Dak the problem, or is it time to move on from Ezekiel Elliott and hopefully, because CeeDee Lamb is definitely that guy. He's that guy. That's one thing we're starting to see. So tell us what you saw about this matchup and why the Cowboys continue to break our hearts.
That's funny. Unfortunately, I'm in Houston at the moment, and I was able to sit in a sports bar, a huge screen it's incredible the number of Cowboy fans, even in Houston. Like that's incredible to me, but they're all over the country. And it's just something about those Cowboys that people just love all around America. And I remember they promoted themselves as America's team when a lot of these states didn't have a team. And so that's where a lot of people don't know that they went on like a United States tour and just kind of ingratiated themselves to the fans. But I think, honestly, Eric, and it's just my opinion, I think it's the Jerry Jones curse. I don't think that the Cowboys are going to go to that next level until Jerry steps out of the way and allows some fresh ideas and, just a fresh look at the team. Jerry has done a great job of getting in talent, but can he truly have the right people around him that will tell him, hey, Jerry, listen, I think we should go in this direction. I think we should do this. I mean, at the end of the day, he is the final word, and he's the one who makes the big moves. And it's just really, really hard when you don't allow a real GM to come in and do what he has to do. Now, as far as Dak, quickly to end on Jerry, ever since Jerry did what he did to Jimmy Johnson, things haven't been right. I just feel like it hasn't been right. You saw residual effects of them being really good when who's the coach from Oklahoma who took over for him for a minute and won a championship.
Oh yeah, Barry Switzer.
Switzer. You saw Switzer win with Jerry previous coaches, players.
Yeah.
And but Jerry hasn't been able to put it together. Now, as far as Dak is concerned, yes, Tony Pollard saw some real explosiveness out of him, and obviously not being paid as much. I do believe that they are going to make some trades. They're going to try their best to come up with something. I think they're going to try hard to get rid of Zeke. I think it's going to be very tough with the amount of money that he has on, like you said, the team has on the hook. That's going to be a very hard. It's going to probably have to be multiple teams involved with this deal. But Jerry, he's an OG of the NFL. Like, he's going to, somebody owes him something out there.
He's gonna sit down like the old Untouchables and the old Godfathers and say, "Hey,
yeah,
I need you to give me something."
He is definitely going to be able to make a move, I believe. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you brought it up. I really feel that Dak has lost his luster. He, to me, is not. I mean, you gotta have. Typically, the guys who win the Super Bowl, if you win in the Super Bowl, you got to have at least a top 5, 6 quarterback. And Dak is not. I don't think Dak is top 10, to be honest with you. I mean, there's 10 other quarterbacks that I would take over Dak. Solid player. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, to play in the NFL, I'm not going to downplay playing quarterback in the NFL, but to win championships, you have to be a top 5, at least top 10 quarterback. And Dak, to me, just is not that man. He's not that guy. The rookie played better than him.
That's what I was going to say. It seemed to me like Brock Purdy made look, they were stopping McCaffrey. They were shutting down Debo. All the things that you would think that Brock Purdy, a third string quarterback, now he's the guy, would need to be able to overcome. He used George Kittle, one of the most guys that was this season was just overlooked because they were going with everybody else to win this game, man. Look, I love the throws he made, some of the tight windows he got it in. I'm like, gosh, he's a rookie third stringer. But go ahead, Cliff.
Part of that, those are great points. But part of that, you also got to throw in, part of that is coaching. They have one of the best coaches, Shanahan, young Shanahan. I mean, he's one of the best coaches to coach quarterbacks in the NFL. He's already gone to a Super Bowl, so I mean, he obviously knows what he's doing. He knows how to cater the game to what the quarterback's strength is. He obviously knows what the quarterback's strength is, and he puts him in positions to win. And he also put him in position to win the games because, like you said, Dallas said, you know what, we're gonna take this guy out. We're gonna take this guy out. We're gonna make the quarterback. We're gonna make this young rookie beat us. And that's the testament to the head coach. He put Brock in positions to win the game. And I just felt Dak, being the veteran that he was, he was just slow on throws. He was off on throws. He threw some very costly
picks. Yeah.
And, at this time in his career, he's supposed to be, I thought he was on his way to be more like what Patrick Mahomes is right now, because his first year was phenomenal. I mean, he had a great first year. But Joe Burrow,
come on,
and Patrick Mahomes and
Josh Allen.
It's just
that division is going to be a beast for the next years to come.
Is better.
Yeah.
You just got a lot of quarterbacks that are better, that are really much better. When I sit down and look at all the different starting quarterbacks in NFL, Jalen from Philadelphia, I mean, he's playing way better than Dak. And all these guys, most of these guys haven't been around as long as Dak. So he should be better. And the guy is a great guy. You could tell when he does his interviews, when he does his press conferences, he'll put the blame on himself. Hey, I got to be better. I got to do this. I got to do that. But hey, Dak, man, listen, it's time. This is, I know he's not from Missouri, but you got to show us right now.
Yeah.
And it's not being done.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Bill and Bennett agrees with you. Jerry Jones is the biggest snake oil salesman in the world. Dallas will always suck while he is there. That is what Bill Bennett has to say on the Sauterheimer text line as well. Class, man, we could do it all day, my boy. We could do it all day, but we always love to have you on there, even if there's a segment where we want to throw you in the mix. I thank you that I could always call on you and get some great insight and content from you.
Appreciate that. Appreciate my friend.
All right. Cluster Johnson, two-time national championship, joining us on the block. We're going to take another break right here, and we'll come back with Shootout with Strick when we get back. Stricky's on a roll a little bit. I got some things going. Come on in. Tap in. Call in. 402-464-5685 on the Honda Lincoln Hotline. We'll be right back after this Shootout with Strick. Peace.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs formation. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer with a 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can find by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
Problem gambling affects more than the gambler. It affects spouses, children, extended family members, and friends. If you are a loved one who's struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 476-2300.
Shopping for insurance can be a tedious and frustrating task, but the agents at Brokers Insurance Agency will do the work for you. They have partnered with over 20 of the best insurance carriers in the nation, which allows them to do the shopping all for you. Whether you're looking for business insurance or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance Agency has the agents and solutions to help meet your goals. Call 402-420-5353 or email staff at brokersinsurancene.com.
Hey guys, this is Lindsay Teal from Nebraska Golf Team. Imagine golfing the best courses in the world. St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, Southern Hills, the best of the best. You can play those courses and more without ever leaving the city of Lincoln at Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle has the city's best golf simulators, 5 high-quality bays that track ball speed, launch angle, club speed, spin rate, and more to give you the most accurate gameplay. Check it out for yourself year-round. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism. Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
James Enterprise Incorporated, that company that hauls your gravel, rocks, and material for your farm or construction site, says thank you to the people of the healthcare community for putting yourself in the way of danger to save the public. That is what it means to be a hero and to build a beautiful legacy. This message brought to you by James Enterprise Incorporated. For all your hauling of rock, gravel, and materials, call them at 402-432-6740. That's 402-432-6740.
The Ticket Water Cooler.
What should the expectation be for a team that's gutting half of it, and you're replacing it with guys obviously that you like long term and some short term that you think can help right away? But this is a roster flipping. This is something that you would do if you're thinking about 3 or 4 years down the line, and they're building the program, not 2023 season.
We'll see improvement on all 3 sides of the ball, because you're going to have so many new faces, new names, new numbers. It's going to be really fun.
Joint pain can affect your quality of life and even be debilitating. Perhaps you've had trouble walking or even performing activities as simple as sitting down and standing up for years. There are new QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics can assist with all types of pain in the knees, shoulders, hips, other joints, whether due to an underlying chronic condition or a recent or even former accident or sports injury. Kinetics in Lincoln today at 402-205-4270 or go to qckinetics.com.
Shouldn't the landscape around your house reflect the architecture as well as the interior? Whether it's new construction or breathing life into an outdated landscape, let the teams at Tailored Landscapes, Tailored Lights, and Tailored Life combine as your local source for outdoor living. Schedule a meeting with one of our designers who listen during our consultations and combine your preferences, plus our experience to give you a timeless, sustainable, photo shoot-worthy landscape. Call us at 402-432-2572. Find us on any social media or at www.tailoredlandscapes.com, because when you find one company, you find the benefit of 3.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now. 464-5685 to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
That's right. Shootout with Strick is now. I'm looking at the door. I can see the outline of a person. Can't tell if it's the champ or just Strick. I can't tell right now. Remains to be seen. You're 2 wins in right now, Strick. One more, and that is the outline of the champ.
It is Monday. Manic Monday. Manic Monday, I come with a little bit. Sometimes I'm one or the other. I'm either the extreme, motivated, got energy, or I'm just like mush mind. But I feel pretty good coming off of this weekend.
Feel pretty good?
Feel
Okay.
pretty good.
How do you like the AP poll?
Don't.
You don't? Okay. We go to the Honda of Lincoln hotline. We welcome in Mike to play the shootout. Mike, have you played the game before?
I have.
All right. How do you feel about your chances with the men's AP poll this week?
Not good.
All right. We got 2 people feeling not great about it, so this should be a high comedy. So we will start with Strick here. Mike, hold on the line. You'll get your 5 questions in just a moment. Strick, are you ready for round 1 of the shootout?
All right.
All right. Shootout begins in 3, 2, and 1. They rose 2 spots to number 1 this week. Purdue or Alabama?
Purdue.
Yep. They're the highest-ranked Big 12 team. Kansas State or Kansas?
Kansas State.
Yep. They're the highest-ranked Big East team. Xavier or Marquette?
Marquette.
Nope, it's Xavier. They rose 3 spots to their highest ranking in program history. Florida Atlantic or St. Mary's?
Florida Atlantic.
Yep. They received the most points of any team not in the poll this week.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Indiana.
2, 1.
A good guess, but Strickett is staring you straight in the face.
Duke.
Yep.
Oh
Duke,
my
number 26
gosh.
in the polls.
No, Stricky.
So you got 3 points.
I don't like betting on Duke. Boom.
Sorry, not sorry. So 3 points for Strick. Mike, how do you feel about 3 points? You need 3 to tie, 4 to win.
Let's try it.
All right. Round 2 of the shootout begins here in 3, 2, and 1. They dropped out of the number 1 spot this week. Kansas or Houston?
Houston.
Yep. They're the highest ranked Pac-12 team. Arizona or UCLA?
Arizona.
Yep. They remain at number 18. Clemson or Charleston?
Oh, God. Charleston.
Yep. They're the only ranked Mountain West team. San Diego State or New Mexico?
8, 7, 6, 5,
Oh, geez.
3,
I think New Mexico.
1.
It is New Mexico at the buzzer. It counts. Mike for the win.
To death.
Boom shakalaka!
There's no way.
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Strick is out of the building. The champ is not here, and neither is Strick. Mike, congratulations on your win. That's $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Hold on the line. One of the guys in back will get your
Mike, no, he
information
Googled
down.
me to death. Mike, there's no way it took you that long to answer those questions. I got Googled to death.
The Google
Great
machine
win. He
keeps the
used
champ
it
out of
on
the
me.
building.
That's all right. I'm glad. Congratulations, Mike, for the stricken.
$15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Another chance tomorrow. At the buzzer, though, Strick. He almost didn't get that answer in. He was not confident.
He was confident. He knew. He knew all he needed to do was get one more. That's all.
I guess.
I love it, though.
It's also funny that you say Indiana for your answer because the last question from Mike was they're the closest Big Ten team to entering the rankings this week. It's Indiana.
Ooh.
The Hoosiers are 27th in the poll.
Ooh.
If you had the other question.
If I had the other question. See, I was looking for the Big Ten, but it's okay. He wins the stricken.
He does.
I'll be the champ later on this week.
It's kind of crazy to think that Purdue's the only ranked Big Ten men's team right now.
No, it's not.
It's kind of, think about how deep the Big Ten is. How much you think about the reputation of some of these teams. The fact that they're the only one and we're in late January,
It's a lot
on
of
its
parity.
face, it blows my mind.
Yeah, it does. On its face, it's a lot of parity, and they just knock each other off. And they didn't do enough in preseason, not preseason, but in non-con in order to kind of put themselves in a position. So you have a lot of Big Ten teams like with 5 losses, 6 losses, and it's tough to justify. It's tough to just. So it's gonna come down late as to how it's going to work out, who's going to emerge, who's going to start to separate themselves. But that's the problem. You're not seeing nobody separate. You're seeing teams like Indiana take losing streaks, and then now they look like they're the hottest team on earth. Then you look at Michigan State, then they kind of start off suspect, lose some tough ones, solid non-con schedule. Then all of a sudden they come out of nowhere. And it's like, then Rutgers is like, oh, hey, you didn't know about us? So it's like it's kind of this crazy thing going on right now. Michigan doesn't know what they want to do, whether they want to win or whether they want to lose.
Wisconsin's down. Ohio State
they're hot early. Yes, I mean
Maryland was good early, but bad now.
It's crazy. It is the craziest thing. And I'm like, where is that coming from? Is it something that they're eating? Is it the cold? Is it the travel? It ain't COVID. So what is it? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, well, speaking of COVID, that's Nebraska's next opponent, Northwestern. That game got bumped from tomorrow to Wednesday. So we'll break down the Northwestern game more on Wednesday. When we come back to hour 2 here of On the Block, a little more about Nebraska-Penn State, the Emmanuel Bandamel injury, and what it could mean for Fred Hoiberg's future. Shannon Sharp-Wilden, we'll talk about that as well in segment 1 before we get to Brian Munson. Lots of Husker recruiting news to get to, so we'll catch up with Brian at the bottom of the hour. Of course, we'll finish it off with the crossover, but hour 2 of On the Block comes your way next.
Hey guys, this is Lindsay Teal from Nebraska Golf Team. Imagine golfing the best courses in the world. St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, Southern Hills, the best of the best. You can play those courses and more without ever leaving the city of Lincoln at Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle has the city's best golf simulators, 5 high-quality bays that track ball speed, launch angle, club speed, spin rate, and more to give you the most accurate gameplay. Check it out for yourself year-round. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Joint pain can affect your quality of life and even be debilitating. Perhaps you've had trouble walking or even performing activities as simple as sitting down and standing up for years. There is good news thanks to QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics can assist with all types of pain in the knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints, whether due to an underlying chronic condition or a recent or even former accident or sports injury. Call QC Kinetics in Lincoln today at 402-205-4270 or go to qckinetics.com.
Problem gambling affects more than the gambler. It affects spouses, children, extended family members, and friends. If you are a loved one who's struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 476-2300.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer with a 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can find by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
Shouldn't the landscape around your house reflect the architecture as well as the interior? Whether it's new construction or breathing life into an outdated landscape, let the teams at Tailored Landscapes, Tailored Lights, and Tailored Life combine as your local source for outdoor living. Schedule a meeting with one of our designers who listen during our consultations and combine your preferences, plus our experience to give you a timeless, sustainable, photo shoot-worthy landscape. Call us at 402-432-2572. Find us on any social media or at www.tailoredlandscapes.com, because when you find one company, you find the benefit of 3.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate. James Enterprise Incorporated, that company that hauls your gravel, rocks, and material for your farm or construction site, says thank you to the people of the healthcare community for putting yourself in the way of danger to save the public. That is what it means to be a hero and to build a beautiful legacy. This message brought to you by James Enterprise Incorporated. For all your hauling of rock, gravel, and materials, call them at 402-432-6740. That's 402-432-6740.
The Empire brand is growing with ESC fabrication and sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom welding for aluminum and stainless steel and media blasting of all sorts. ESC has great attention to detail. They stick to deadlines and keep within your budget. If you can dream it, they can make it. Contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting in Waverly today at 531-207-9329.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Hold up.
This Monday's flying by. Plain and simple, it's flying by for us. We hope yours is as well. Thanks for dialing us up here on the block at 93.7 The Ticket, 93.7theticketfm.com, or on the interwebs at Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter is where you can watch the show, listen to the show, chime in on the show as well. You have thoughts on the Lincoln Hotline, 402-464-5685. That same number goes to the Starter Heyman text line. Hour 2 of On the Blocks brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let Charles and his crew fix you a plate. I'm Austin Norman. He's Eric Strickland. And Strick, before we get going into a little bit of Nebraska basketball conversation, Chase B sent something that you thought was pretty spot on the text line.
Yeah, man. I text line is open again always. Honda Lincoln hotline as well at 402-464-5685. And what Chase B had to say, I thought was interesting, because this seems to be the continuous cycle, unfortunately, of what the Cowboys are. We are here, right? We are here right now. It is playoff time, divisional playoff. The divisional round of the playoffs has just ended, and it says choke in the playoffs. It's a graphic. It's a screen graphic of the Cowboys cycle. Choke in the playoffs. Then you go back. Season starts, win some games, fans get their hopes up. Like I just said, you go into, listen, like I said, I used to live in Dallas. My mother and my sister still live in Dallas. And whenever I go down there, sometimes we'll go out to a little lounge or a little bar. The football game is playing. The Cowboys are playing. This is what you hear. Every time the Cowboys score, every time they win, you'll hear Wiz Khalifa playing in the background. Boom, boom. We them boys. That's all you hear. Is we them boys. And that's what you said. That's what Chase B says. We them boys. This is our year. And guess what happens? You get back to the playoffs and you achy, breaky heart. That's the cycle.
I'm going to push back a little bit. San Francisco was the better seed. They did host. Is it a choke?
Well, as far as Cowboy fans are concerned,
anything
no.
other than the Super Bowl is a choke.
Everything the Cowboys,
right?
I said everything involving the Cowboys, nothing is a choke for them. It's like they're supposed to win every freaking game that they step on the field, whether they're at home or away. We them boys, that's what they say. But yeah, I have to agree with them on that. Now, I'm going to throw one thing to you. You ready?
Bring it.
There's somebody lurking in the transfer portal of high interest for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. It is an area of absolute need. It is a place where they need to be active in. There's a young man that finds himself in the portal. And who is that?
His name is Jacob Hood. He committed to Georgia, would have been August of 2021. So he was there last season. 14th best player in Tennessee, top 500 prospect nationally, a 4-star coming out of high school.
6'8".
6'8".
Big body.
340.
Woo.
And I'm sure he refined that 340, put some muscle on in his year at Georgia. That would be a big get. If he can play offensive tackle like he's listed at, if he can stick out there, yeah, it was a big deal to lose Walter Rouse, a 4-year starter from Stanford that we all know how that saga went down. That was a big deal to lose him.
Yeah.
If you can get a young guy with a lot of upside, though, as well,
Facts.
let him grow in the program
Facts.
for a year and step on the field, Strick, you might have just filled your tackle hole.
Yeah, I would have to agree. There's a scouting report breakdown on him, and it goes like this. Massive big man that has tremendous length and frame, along with good athletic ability. That's a key component right there, whether it be in the run game, the stretch game, pass block. So he's got long arms, keep separation, great feet to be able to handle counters. That's something that you want to have as a tangible, even if you're going to continue to develop and train up. He is able to bend for a guy his size. That's good too. Flexible hips, show good flexibility. He once he gets in the college strength and conditioning program, the strides that he can make will continue to trend upward. Okay, and that's what they're talking about. Hood is still refining his technique. He is a pass pro type of guy. Stays square, utilize his superior arm length, what I just talked about, for edge rushers. He can have problems if he lets defenders get under his pads. So a bull rush guy initially would be somebody that would be tough for him. But in the run game, his size, agility, with good feet, he has great, powerful lower half. So the run game is good for him. That's a good thing. He also participates in track and field. So the Husker track and field program would also land a dual type of guy, which would also help him with conditioning and continuing to stay active.
Shout out Husker track and field, by the way. The men are back in the top 10 for the first time since 2015 today.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff. I shout out to the Husker track and field program. I also love the fact about this opportunity is they're going after big boys.
They are.
Like not just linemen, big boys. They're going after programs that they're in the fight for those type of guys to listen. It is not easy to land top prospect linemen. And so that speaks well to the keeping of Raiola. That speaks well to Rule and what he's going after. He's not just settling for second tier, second best. He's going after guys that most everybody else will be shooting at as well.
Absolutely. And of course, there is always that worry in the back of the mind about, well, why are they leaving their program after 1 year? Or, did they get recruited over? Could they just not hack it? So that's why they're coming back as a fallback option. At this point, Nebraska needs talent. If other people think kids can play, who is Nebraska to turn them down at this point, regardless of position, and especially at the offensive line, where if, Nebraska is going to have problems like it did last year, you can't take fewer bodies. You can't just assume improvement from the guys you have. You got to go get new pieces if the pieces you have aren't working. Are you at all concerned that we see a trend with Nebraska where these tackles are big? I mean, Teddy Prohaska 6'10", Bryce Benhurst 6'9". Now Jacob Hood, if he officially commits, to be 6'8". We've seen those tall tackles struggle before. Does that concern you at all?
Well, again, this is the thing that I speak about with Rule and what I heard from the beginning, from the press conference on, and what I'm now seeing with my eyes is that he is recruiting for developmental talent.
Sure.
Right. To develop the talent that comes in. I have to hope that the Nebraska strength and conditioning program is working on loosening up areas where they can be effective, understanding who they are, understanding that size is their situation, understanding that they've got to be agile in their feet and good in their hips to be able to drop, to be able to maintain good leverage. to not allow people to turn corners on them. So I think they've got to be recruiting and looking for those type of guys. And he seems to fit the mold of what they're trying to have. So it would normally have a concern for me, but because Rule and his staff is looking to develop those type of individuals, and I think that he has a track record of showing that that's what he does and can do. That's why it doesn't give me pause.
And there's a middle ground there too, because a lot of the edge rushers that you're facing, especially in a conference with like the Big Ten that has just stables of edge rushers, they're 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" for the most part. So you can't be
ish and yeah,
you can't be too small.
Yeah.
But also you don't want to be that much taller, because it does put you then, that inherent disadvantage. I mean, even someone that didn't play football like me knows low man wins.
Period.
So you got to be that much better if you're the high man, at your technique, at everything you do fundamentally every time to get away with it. We haven't seen that from Nebraska, but let's touch on Donovan Raiola too. Surprising retention to some degree. I think a lot of fans would have thought he would have been one of the first ones out, given the offensive line performance. Matt Rule came in and said that Raiola gelled with the staff. He's about the age he was looking for and fit in really well.
Mm-hmm.
This is a huge proving ground for him, where we know Matt Rule's a big name coming in with high expectations down the line. Matt Rule's confidence and belief in Donovan Raiola is giving him a platform. He's got to do something with it now.
Yeah, I think too, if you're trying to sell yourself for an incoming staff, I would have to say that rumor had it that the rumor mill had some concerns about the fact that Raiola, when he came in, that the Frost regime was not entertaining any of the guys that he had scouted, evaluated, looked at to bring them in. Didn't even go after them. Pretty much said, here's a plate of some food, make something out of it. Just here's a bunch of ingredients right here. We don't know what we want you to make, but just make something.
It's like an episode of Chopped on the Food Network.
You know what I mean?
All it was.
So that's what I think he was given. And so I think he could sell and show by what he had, what he was looking to bring. His work ethic was something that fit the mold of the staff that they were trying to bring in. So when you encompass all of those different things, then you can see that there was something there. Now, the retention, not a whole bunch of linemen jumped out there and was like, we don't like him. We're out of here. They liked what they were talking and selling and what they were trying to accomplish, the vision of where they're wanting to go. I'm sure it is my understanding that he had them working. He really was doing the best he can with what the ingredients that he was given. Unfortunately, guys had to shift and move, and he had to try to teach them all different facets of the game. One of the areas that I think they need to focus on, which was the center position. When you lose Cam Jurgens to, is Cam's second round pick?
Yeah, second round.
You got a second
overall,
round with what he brought to the table. They're the ones that make all of the line calls outside of the quarterback and some of the shifting, in blitz packages and stuff like that. When you look at all of those things, it's hard to try to. Now you got Prohaska go down, then you lose Nuri. You've got all these different. You're working with basically a stacked deck. You've got a bunch of cards that are against you right there off the hand, and it's tough. So I you got to give the man a chance, and I thought that he was well deserving of another chance.
Speaking of,
I thought Bush was too.
Okay,
but,
sure.
I thought Bill Bush, what he was able to do with that freaking defense that was terrible to start the season, I thought he was worthy of another chance too. But there may be some news coming out about Bush that we hope to hear and see soon.
Absolutely. Speaking of stacked decks, this is where I want to shift the conversation to Husker basketball before we get to the bottom of the hour. And Brian Munson of Husker Online will fill us in some more on Jacob Hood, what that potential commitment could mean for Nebraska and other stuff going on there. Fred Hoiberg's stacked deck. The first year, basically the entire program's gone. You have one or two carryovers?
Mm-hmm.
The second team he has, more talented than the first team, gets shut down for a month because of COVID. That team, I'm not going to say they were on the verge of a huge breakout, but they were figuring some things out. And then last year happens. Another struggle. Trey McGowan's gets hurt. This year, you lose Juwan Gary, which is a problem. And now you lose Emmanuel Bandamel as well. 2 year big culture guys. If I'm Trev Alberts right now, this is where I'm sure, Fred Hoiberg's head is in his hands a little bit. Like, what do I got to do? What's going on? Why me?
Yeah.
If I'm Trev Alberts and I know Fred Hoiberg is back for another year, I'm walking right down to Hendricks and telling him as much right now. Because as I look at the rest of the season, Strick, wins and losses, whatever. Wins are going to be hard to come by. Down two starters, two culture pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see flashes from Jamarcus Lawrence and Denham Dawson, Wilhelm Breidenbach to some extent, that to me, if I'm Trev Alberts,
and this is really Breidenbach's first year.
It really is.
Because he was injured all year.
He was.
Yeah.
So if I'm Trev Alberts and I see those guys really come on strong and that they believe in the system and that you can see them making progress, to me, that tells me there's a good foundation laid for next year, despite this year. Has Fred done enough? What does the rest of the season mean for any stability for the Husker program?
Sauter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Great question by Austin, by the way. I think there should be a discussion. I personally, and the question is to everybody on the Sauter Heyman text line, do you feel that Fred Hoiberg has done enough thus far? And I'm gonna lay just my thoughts on what I've seen and what I think. Not to say that means anything.
Mm-hmm.
I just still have a thought that someone that can come in and had a mindset and had told everybody by way of you're on your hire and how you're going to play your style of basketball, but you have humility enough that you fire dang near everybody on your staff. You start fresh, and with that fresh start, you were able to change a culture that of basketball that looked terrible. Like I used to hate watching Husker basketball.
Sure.
I'm a defensive minded guy. I love it now. I mean, I love it just from the scrappiness, from just, they're active and they're getting down and gritty and they're putting bodies on people. I love that stuff. That's the way I like it. Right. But then now you have, like you just said, your culture guys, you have some of the guys that were your Stapletons, veteran leadership type of guys. Most of them go down. You lose another big man out of Kita. You've lost him for some time. That he was kind of spotty because he was going to depend on situational type of play.
But he's a rotation guy.
He's a rotation guy. You lose Jawan Gary to a season-ending injury. Your Bandemill is somebody still wasn't, able to kind of find his way, still spotty. But now you lose him because he's one of your main ball handlers. He's your best defender. And also he's just a guy that's a leader on the team on the floor that you felt confident that can help get things organized and settled. Okay. So you lose those three.
Griesel had to sit.
Griesel had to sit. Exactly. So you, over the course of this period, you've lost, and you didn't have Derek Walker to start.
Right.
Which is the centerpiece of also everything that you're now doing with your team. So I look at it from a standpoint of, listen, I think I can see that you've done well. I can see that you've done what I asked of you. I can see that you're progressing upward. I can see a lot of these things. And now it's like tweaking. It's finding a balance from where you were just all out. I don't give a dang, shoot it when you want to, how you want to, where you want to, well, we're going to settle down. We're going to make sure we're going to get a good shot. That's a job on the line type of decision. Now you got to find middle ground.
Sure.
You've got to be somewhere in the middle. You're 277th right now in pace of play. And you have to get a little bit of trust from the guys to move them into that 50 type of range, somewhere in the middle. If you find yourself somewhere in the middle where you can trust that these guys are going to make decisions that are going to be for the betterment of the team, but you have to get easier shots, whether that be in the fast break or it has to be in transition of somehow.
I'm glad you
secondary transition.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up because you do still have Griesel and Walker out on the floor, at least for now, when, Griesel's hip isn't acting up and Walker's not in foul trouble. Thanks, Big Ten refs. Different conversation for another day. But you're going to see more Jamarcus Lawrence, more Denham Dawson, more Wilhelm Breitenbach. As these guys are still learning, it seems like it'd be so much harder to ask them to execute in the half court, 50, 60 times a game as compared to, hey, let's run a little more, react, use your natural athleticism, rely on that while you're figuring out the game mentally. This has to be the time to speed things up at least a little bit, right?
Facts. And you saw it. Denham Dawson is effective in scramble, in secondary type situations where his athleticism, you saw the couple finishes that he had in the game. You get him in the athletic kind of change of direction, but he can't. He's a spotty shooter, streaky at best, not a very good free throw shooter. None of those things, but get him in the open court and allow him to be able to take a guy 1, 2, or to get deep and find somebody for an open one, right? Then you have the same thing with Lawrence. Lawrence is very athletic, great ball handling skills, able to create his own shot. He's one of the only guys on the team that's able to do that. So you've got to do that in the open court. And listen, Keisei Tamanaga in the open court is tough. Let him get out there as well, because he can create. He's got probably the next best. Well, let me just say, outside of Derek Walker, he's probably in the open court the next best guy, even in the pick and roll. Him and Greasel are 1A, 1B to me of being able to create opportunities for other guys.
Who do you move into the starting lineup with Bandamel out?
I like the way that they're doing it. You got to. So I think you would go with the young guys.
Okay.
Get them started early. Let them feel confident in knowing that their minutes are going to be there. They've got to be focused, so they know they're going to, what they've got to do. They've got to be attuned to their scouting reports. Let them go. Let a veteran of like CJ Wilcher to be able to calm his nerves. Don't feel like you have to do anything special. Just be able to come in, let the game come to you. Now, as a guy coming off the bench, if I'm CJ Wilcher, I'm not just looking at the game. I'm watching where my shot opportunities are going to come. So I'm in my mind. When I'm watching film, if I'm CJ Wilcher, I'm looking at how they're playing me, how they're running off. Where can I get to? Okay, this is what they like to do in their rotations. Where the shot's going to come from for me. And you can observe that in the game. So when you get in the game, you're mentally prepared for where things are going to happen for you. So hopefully you can knock down shots. That's where his value is. He has to figure that out. And I think watching the game develop, you will be able to see it a little bit more. But that's, if I was coaching them and I was a part of that those are the type of things I would be teaching. I would be telling, for some of those guys.
You did get a vote for head coach on the text line.
Oh, whoa. Hey.
You did. So watch out for a phone call is what that says. So we got to keep Fred. Heck no. Yep. Moving in the right direction. Yep. Keep him. Everyone, well, not everyone, but majority is saying keep him at this point. And I think that's fair, because look at what you did when you had the starting lineup that you thought you had going into the year. You beat Creighton on the road. Creighton's, best team in school history. Ooh, watch out. You go and beat them on the road.
Yeah.
You win 2 ACC games. You beat Florida State, and then you beat Boston College. As bad as those teams were and you played them,
they're playing better now.
They improved.
They're playing better.
They are.
Yeah. 2
better looking wins. You beat Iowa.
Smack
them around your home court. That was fun. You win at Minnesota. That, is tough. It wasn't pretty, but you get it done.
8-2 at home.
It should have beat Purdue. You have that lineup. Again, I'm not saying that this is an NCAA tournament team, but that's at least an NIT team the way they were playing. And that, to me, speaks to Fred Hoiberg. Like you said, the humility to be able to adapt his system the way he did, right?
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it. I think, when you have some of your closest people that you've been in the battle in the trenches, that you humble yourself and recognize that, what, I'm viewing this wrong. Let me get organized and see how I can make this thing right for what we need here at Nebraska. And not only did you recruit to it, but you retained those type of guys and brought in those type of guys that fit the structure of what you're trying to build. And I love it. I like it.
So it seems like we're team keep Fred. We'll see if that's Trev Albert's decision. Robert also chimes in and says Fred needs to stay. Things will turn out better soon. Coming up, though, we will flip it back to the football side of the conversation. Brian Munson of Husker Online will join us. A lot of Husker recruiting news. We'll get Brian's thoughts on and breakdown of some of the prospects in the Husker hopper right after this.
This is Megan Whitaker from the Nebraska golf team. If you've put your clubs away for the winter, it's time to get them back out. There's no need to stop thanks to Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle is home to Lincoln's best indoor simulators. It's perfect for every level of golfer, with everything from casual games for the kids to hyper-realistic simulations of some of the best courses in the world. And the best part, no matter what the weather's doing outside, it's always golf weather inside. See for yourself. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
James Enterprise Incorporated, a company that hauls your gravel, rocks, and material for your farm or construction site, says thank you to the people of the healthcare community for putting yourself in the way of danger to save the public. That is what it means to be a hero and to build a beautiful legacy. This message brought to you by James Enterprise Incorporated. For all your hauling of rock, gravel, and materials, call them at 402-432-6740. That's 402-432-6740.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer with a 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can find by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in areas, great people, by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 4029-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism. People first is more than a nice sentiment. Packing your benefits, it's the mission. If you're ready for a career where you can truly put your customers' needs ahead of everything else, this is for you. American Benefits is one of the leading senior market insurance product distributors in the country, and they're looking for high-energy applicants with strong communication skills. Enjoy on-the-job training, a fun work environment, and unlimited income potential. Visit ASBMidwest.com to learn more. American Senior Benefits.
Problem gambling affects more than it affects spouses, children, extended family members, and friends. If you are a loved one who's struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 476-2300.
Shopping for insurance can be a tedious and frustrating task, but the agents at Brokers Insurance Agency will do the work for you. They have partnered with over 20 of the best insurance carriers in the nation, which allows them to do the shopping all for you. Whether you're looking for business insurance or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance agents and solutions to help meet your goals. 402-420-5353 or email staff at brokersinsurancene.com.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate. Sunday morning. It's quiet. Not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum. Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket. KFX weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Patchy areas of fog this morning, then a mix of sun and clouds this afternoon as we'll see a high of around 35. Winds out of the west-northwest at 10 to 15. Patchy areas of fog again tonight, a low down to 22. We'll see partly cloudy skies tomorrow with a high of around 33. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Now back to On the Block with Straight on 93.7theticketfm.com.
Bottom of hour 2 here on the block. I'm Austin Norman. He's Eric Strickland. We'll get right to the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Welcome in Brian Munson, covering Husker football recruiting for Husker Online. Brian, it's been a couple weeks since we talked to you. A lot's happened. The first news, I think, of the day to get to, Ismael Smith-Flores is in, a Texas product. What can you tell us about the get for Nebraska from Smith-Flores?
Yeah, good get. Wide receiver, a little bit under the radar, so to speak, for like Nebraska fans, mainly just because, Nebraska had Ben Bramer on the commitment list for forever, and then things happened with Scott Frost and he flips on his commitment. And with Bob Wagner coming on board, obviously, he coached him last year at Arlington Martin. There's a great bond there between Coach Wagner and Flores where, Flores didn't even play football before his senior year. And then he decides to go out and he picks up offers from Iowa and Rutgers and Nebraska and so on. I mean, he is very athletic. He's got great speed, great explosiveness. It's like one of those, basketball player that's also great at football kind of things. And I think it's really a great get for Nebraska. I think that, he's similar-ish, to what you've got now with like Gilbert committing to Nebraska and with Fedoni already there in the room. He's another flex style tight end. But when you start talking about like 13 personnel and bringing out like multiple tight ends, and you've got, 3 of those guys like that are real matchup problems, I think that's really got to be a lot of fun for Nebraska to kind of think about what they can do offensively.
Husker fans just got goosebumps. You mentioned 13 personnel. I think Husker fans' hair stood on end. And for no other reason than, 13 personnel is fun on its own, but you steal a guy away from Iowa, right? His dad's an Iowa guy. Did it come down to Nebraska and Iowa for him, or were there other programs that were a little hotter on his trail than the Hawkeyes?
Well, he just visited Rutgers the week before. I think he really would have taken an official visit to Nebraska a week ago had he not had an official visit set up to Rutgers. So I know that Rutgers was there. I know Iowa was obviously hot on his trail as well. I do feel like this was a Nebraska decision over Florida. I feel like, this is just such a, it's going to be underrated, undervalued, because you're going to go down the list and you're going to see him down there as a 3-star, but he's a 6'5", 250-poundish, kind of guy that can really, really run. I really would tell people, like, don't sleep on this guy. He's the kind of guy that's going to just get into the weight room, into the conditioning side of things. Basketball conditioning is tough. Ask Strick. And, and I think that's one of the things when you put that kind of mentality into that room and you're building that conditioning and you're adding those things together, that may be a guy that we're talking about could play a role in the fall. It's going to be really fun to watch him develop.
He seems to fit that template that Matt Rule and his staff are going for. Obviously, you mentioned the physical development part, but even the skill development where this staff has gone after athletes, right? And they're so confident in their ability to, teach the game, more so than, obviously develop physically to some extent, but it seems like it's a bit of a home run swing, right? Grab the best athletes you can and then teach them the game, but credit the staff for sticking to their guns. And it seems like it's been a pretty consistent approach across the board, right? More of the tools and the traits more so than the skills so far.
I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, obviously they went out there and they really tried to address athleticism, from when Matt Rule, took over the job, and from some of the very first guys that he identified, track was the background. While that does not necessarily ring true here, I think you get that multi-sport athleticism that does. And there are plenty of tight ends that have gone on to have great careers. Gates, Gonzalez, that have gone on to have great pro careers and great collegiate careers that played both sports. And I'm sitting here probably getting ahead of ourselves just a little bit, but I mean, that mold does not get missed here. I mean, he is just a tremendous athlete. He's incredibly raw. Like I said, 1 year of high school football is all. So get out there and watch his film, and I think you're going to pick up on it right away. He's just a really natural, fluid athlete, and it's going to be really fun to watch, Nebraska develop him. And he's got some great guys to work under, like Gilbert and Fedoni.
Another guy that we're still monitoring the commitment for, Jacob Hood, offensive line transfer. Seems like a pretty strong Nebraska lean. I don't want to count the chickens before they hatch, as we talked to Brian Munson of Husker Online. But assuming Nebraska gets Jacob into the fold, what does he bring to the table, and how does that compare to someone like a Walter Rouse that Nebraska had and then missed out on?
I think Rouse was a better overall offensive tackle. I think he was, obviously that was a graduate transfer. You're talking about a much younger guy in Hood. I think that, Nebraska's going to get Hood into the program. And I think obviously, he's a big dude. He's 6'8", 360 pounds. Obviously he spent a year, at Georgia, won a national championship with them. And I think that it's one of the big draws of like Matt Rule can, kind of going back to that Georgia, that bucket there is because those guys are playing in a top SEC program. They have won the national championship the last 2 years. Those guys really know what it takes to kind of like put in the effort and
culture.
Time.
Come on.
Yeah. The culture's huge. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing I think that when you look at the players that Rule has brought together, it's not by coincidence. It's not by just like they're just great players. They have other things to bring with them, like Joshua Fleeks. Fleeks is a guy that gets missed, but having played for Rule before, he understands that culture. He understands what Matt Rule is going to want to do as he gets things off the ground in Lincoln. Now you bring in the cultures of Florida guys, Georgia guys, a Virginia guy, an Arizona State guy. And you've got guys that have gone up there and played at those highest levels, and they're looking for an opportunity, and they can come in and Matt Rule is basically telling them, like, look, you're going to be these extensions of the coaching staff, and you're going to be the leaders for me in the room that when you start talking about changing the culture of anything, a workplace, a locker room, or whatever, it's like a big inverse triangle. You can imagine Matt Rule looking up at the bottom of this triangle, and it starts at the very, very bottom point. And that's how the idea of changing a culture begins. And then it has to distribute, and it has to widen out. And you start with little spots. It isn't one big brush stroke, say, hey, we're going to be different and everything changes today. You pick the spots that need to be fixed, that need to be done your way. And then you watch things change, and then you go back and you make another change. And that's how things are going to happen there is with these guys in the locker room, these portal transfer guys. They're going to be critical to getting things changed over as quickly as possible from that Rule.
Speaking of changing over as quickly as possible, 40 guys potentially for Nebraska. They're up to 34, 35, I think, right now. Does Nebraska change over basically a quarter of its locker room from last year? Do they hit that magical 40 number? Brian, that seems insane to me.
Let's see. I think that portal transfer guys, they should be done, obviously, because you got, like this, you're in the week now of school starting. You could probably accept guys up till Friday. So I think that they're probably done in that respect. I think I've got 24 commitments and 10 transfers. I think you can expect Hood to be in. I think you can expect Jeremiah Charles to be in, which is Ishmael Smith Flores' teammate down there at Arlington Martin. I think that you could potentially see as many as 2 more 2023 guys jump in. Ooh. So what is that now? But to 38, 39? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think you're going to get really, really, really close to 40. I know a lot of people are wondering how like this thing is going to happen. How do they get back down to 85 by the time that, all the 2023 guys are in town and things start happening again? That's a process, and that's going to work its way out. It's going to work itself out. You're going to learn a lot about who is staying and who is going to be looking for another place to go based on how the spring goes. Trust me, I think that's going to work itself out.
You think that's just like the week after spring, there's a max essence? When is that transfer window after spring? You'd probably know better than I would.
That is a good question. I was so busy relearning the recruiting calendar because
so
typically
different.
Nebraska's always done with the classes, by the time by Christmas rolls around, right? And now all of a sudden I'm worried about the new contact period that's going on now, the really weird window that the transfer guys could take a trip in earlier in January. So yeah, I don't know offhand. I'm trying to type it in here really quick to see if I can find out, man. But I will. I'll come back to that one and see if I can find that information for you.
Looks like I typed it in while you were talking too. 15 days, first 2 weeks of May at the end of spring. So May 1st to 15th. Do you think the bulk of it would get done in there?
Yeah, I think that process is going to consist of like, look, you're going to go through the spring. You're gonna understand very quickly about how you're viewed. You're going to get a chance to get evaluated. I think, you're going to get that chance to play in the game. And then afterward, there's going to be face-to-face meetings. And I think some of those are going to be just straight to exit interviews, where, it's not going to happen here, bro. It's one of those deals. It's like, look, we're going to support you. We want you to go find a spot to go catch on and do your thing. But ultimately, with all the changes that have happened here at Nebraska and what we're trying to do right now, you're just not fitting really into the picture of what we're trying to do. That's going to be a very well used kind of line with a lot of players that are currently there in Lincoln, unfortunately.
Along that same line, something to monitor is the roster size, right? It's been up around 150 for Nebraska recently.
Yep.
Do you think that settles in closer to 125, 110? Where do you think that ultimately settles in the Matt Rule era?
Yeah, 150 is not manageable. Even with like the ability now with some of the analysts to like do some of the on the field coaching, like I think that they just had a rule change around that. I still think span of control is a serious issue. I mean, you're still bringing in all those guys into a single room to kind of do that stuff. And you've got to find that manageable span of control. I think 125-ish is probably about right. There's been very few, walk-ons this year. They just added one today. Bob Weger's kid had committed to take a walk-on spot too. I'll be catching up with him tonight on Husker Online. But there's been just a few guys that have had that opportunity so far, this year. So I think it's going to kind of get normalized. I honestly feel like that's another part of the program that's going to get evaluated. I think that those guys are going to get evaluated just as much as the guys that are on scholarship. I think the guys that are in the walk-on program are also going to get evaluated because I think it lends itself just to resources. I think it lends itself to that span of control and the spaces that are in the room. And just real, if it's not realistic, and I think that we would agree on that it's just better for everybody to kind of go ahead and do their own thing. Yeah. It's a wonderful, wonderful story when those guys get that chance to go do that. And those guys are chasing their dreams. But I think even like after a while, if it's not materialize, it's better to hear it from somebody like that and then take that dream and either decide it's time to go reinvest your energy someplace else or go find another spot.
Real quick, we'll throw this out to you because obviously the playoffs did come together. There was probably a big surprise there for the Bills and the way that the Cincinnati Bengals handled them. Won't really get into that. But the Cowboys, Brock Purdy emerged today, just still trudging along up the mountain top for victories that they're able to put together and did it outside of what the normal scope of what their victories would look like with Deebo Samuels and also McCaffrey and so forth, and used an utilized Kittle. And I happen to say that on the show that I thought that he would have a big game. But what about this cycle? The cycle for the Cowboys, start the season, win some game, fans get their hopes up. Like I said, they get their heart broken. We're here we go, them boys. And then there's another fall off the wagon for the Cowboys. Yeah. Where do they go from here, Brian? Obviously Zeke is going to be an issue, but where do they go?
It's tough because I think the honeymoon is over for Kellen Moore, number one. I also feel like it was an underestimated loss last night when Pollard left the game.
Mm-hmm.
He is a dude. He has been my youngest son's a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. So I have been subjected to plenty of Jerry Jones, more Jerry Jones this year than I tend to like. And I appreciate you wanting to skip over the Buffalo Bills since I am a Bills fan and I'm still reeling from that one. But I think that the honeymoon is over for Kellen Moore. I don't feel like he and Dak are on the same page. And I think that there's been obviously a lot of criticism for Dak, down here, and it's interesting because I think that you see bits and pieces of greatness from him from time to time, and then all of a sudden it's like there's a week where things are just kind of off, and I'm not sure if that's game planning and the inability to do in-flight game adjustments, or if it's just he's just going to be off that day. But I really truly feel like it starts with Kellen Moore. I think that the offensive coordinator position needs to be reviewed. I think the other thing that has not been mentioned enough, the offensive line is a little bit out of phase with where I think the rest of the strengths of the team are at. If this was 3 years ago, and you had the offensive line from 3 years ago, I honestly feel like last night's game would have even been better, and Dallas would have had a better chance of winning that game. They're just getting up there just a little bit. That's a physical group still. I just feel like they're just missing and just above where they had peaked at. So I think that they need to address offensive line. I think that they probably need to take a look at that offensive coordinator position long and hard to see what's kind of going on there.
CeeDee Lamb has emerged as the number one.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
That's still your dude, and I think Schultz is one of the most underrated tight ends in the league.
Facts.
I think he can absolutely just expose defenses. He's a very solid guy. When you could find a guy that could just knows when to sit down and knows when to carry the route through, and he can and he's a very, very good pass catcher, and he can do things with the ball after he's got it. He's not as dynamic as Kittle, and he's not as dynamic as Dawson Knox, but he is incredibly. He's a guaranteed catch whenever he gets it in his area. He's got a great ability to rip that ball in.
Yeah.
There you go. Brian Munson, Husker Online. Brian, unfortunately, enjoy your quiet Sunday next week as best as you can, and hope to talk to you next Monday.
I appreciate it, guys. Be good.
All right, man.
There you go. Brian Munson, Husker Online. Everything Huskers recruiting. Big thanks to Brian for joining us. After this, we have the crossover. DP in the building. Jay on his way to coach. So we may hear from Jay Foreman. We might not. We'll keep you posted. But either way, crossover comes up after this.
Shouldn't the landscape around your house reflect the architecture as well as the interior? Whether it's new construction or breathing life into a updated landscape, let the teams at Tailored Landscapes, Tailored Lights, and Tailored Life combine as your local source for outdoor living. Schedule a meeting with one of our designers who listen during our consultations and combine your preferences, plus our experience to give you a timeless, sustainable, photo shoot-worthy landscape. Call us at 402-432-2572. Find us on any social media or at www.landscapes.com, because when you find one company, you find the benefit of three. There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial. Ben offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism. Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler and sports or for yourself and your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Tractor Supply is looking for full-time team members for their Waverly Distribution Center. Supply has a new progressive pay model where team members receive 5 wage increases in the first 2 years of employment with the ability to earn up to $24 per hour. Applicants can expect a 3- and 4-day work week schedule with additional overtime days with both day and night shift schedules available. At Tractor Supply, they work hard, have fun, and make money. Apply today at tractorsupply.jobs.
This is Megan Whitaker from the Nebraska golf team. If you put your clubs away for the winter, it's time to get them back out. There's no need to stop thanks to Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle is home to Lincoln's best indoor golf simulators. It's perfect for every level, with everything from casual games for the kids to hyper-realistic simulations of some of the best courses in the world. And the best part, No matter what side, it's always golf on their side. See for yourself. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West Street.
Sean Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the ride. Bauer is currently for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. It's basketball season, and that means you're fighting cold weather and snow to get to the arena, waiting for lines at the game, and yelling too much at the refs. Trek CBD has a variety of products to help calm me down during the game so I don't go over the top. And they have a variety of options to calm you down before, during, and after any game. Whether you're looking for drinkable Delta 8 seltzers, hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups for your beverages, or anything else, Trek CBD has it all at 84th and Andrew. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
The Empire brand is growing with ESC Fabrication and Sandblast. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom welding for aluminum and stainless steel. And media blasting of all is great attention to detail. They stick to deadlines and keep within your budget. If you can dream it, they can make it. Contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting in Waverly today at 531-207-9329.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
A smoke-free environment is the only way to fully protect from the dangers of secondhand smoke. That's why smoke-free policies are so important to me. Whether it's in my car, apartment building, or when I'm dining outdoors, there's no place for secondhand smoke or e-cigarette aerosol. Breathe easier knowing the facts. Visit smokefree.ne.gov. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wrapping up On the Block, I'm Austin. He's Strick, joined by big man on campus, DP in the building. DP, how you doing today?
I'm good. Happy Monday. I felt, I don't know how y'all are, but I have become way too attached to technology in a sense that, like, I don't know phone numbers anymore.
Same.
And
map locations.
Right. I don't know how to read a map. I don't know how to do nothing again.
Yeah.
So I plugged my phone in yesterday, but the charger apparently wasn't working. So my phone has no charge, no power. And then I had a backup, which also isn't working.
Oh no.
And yeah, like this was a deep
feel
panic.
naked right
like
now.
It was a real panic, right? Like what is going on in my life? I don't know nothing right now.
Yeah.
Like I don't know nothing.
You used to just kind of boop boop and it all pops up the way you got it set up.
Numbers, like I got an email from the university. I was trying to get to it on my phone, and my phone was like, nope. So then I had to plug in. Hopefully, at least my laptop was working.
Yeah.
So I could at least get emails, but text, I don't know how. Like I think I know the station hotline and my wife's number.
Mm-hmm.
And the number to my. Do you know the
what
number?
more do you need?
Do you know the number to the house that you grew up in?
No.
Like I
used to know it.
I
used to be big on that. Like
all the
knowing
old
numbers.
heads
Yeah.
know the number of the house that they grew up in. Like so
I'm a
we
young
had
head and I do.
Right. So you had, but did you have a landline?
Yeah, had a landline.
Right?
We did.
Like that number, I know from 1970.
I wish I was better than you, but playing all over the place, going there, losing phones, having to change phones, it's gone.
Well, I've been in 6 cities.
I mean, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. I wish I was you. I can't do it.
Well, no, I
don't
have
that
to.
kind of
I
recall.
have to like speak out. I'm like, wait a minute. He in Utah, 801, and I have to fake dial it on
Yeah,
my
your
palm.
hand.
Like, go to your Palm Pilot.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
check my Palm Pilot, and it's actually my palm. And just to act like I'm pressing numbers on the phone to try to remember what it is. This has been deep, man. I was disrupted.
Yeah, feel like zombie mode.
Well, and it was a busy day because for whatever reason, today's the day that everybody wanted to talk to me from around the country, and we've got some really cool projects in play, and people are reaching out, and I can't get back to them. And I was like, oh man,
There's nothing worse than that.
Plus, we had some new talent in the building.
That's
I'm
what I
trying
hear.
we're trying to get some more talent in the building.
When are we moving soon?
What is this soon is relative because we're just getting the bids for all the contractors, and that it's taken longer.
Of course, there's supply chain issues,
right? And it costs more than we thought. So there was I was like, why are you messing with my vacation house? Like, stop playing. Like, that was supposed to be Hawaii. Like, don't get into my stuff.
Right.
But I would bet this summer we'll be there. We'll be there by kickoff.
Yeah, beautiful.
But we should be there before that, depending on what the work is being done. A lot of drywall work, rewiring, that sort of stuff, and of course, all new equipment, and a second studio. So, it's like knowing what your Christmas present is and your birthday present, and having to wait for them both.
Yeah,
like what's coming, but you got to wait for it. And I'm just not consistently patient because I know what's coming, and people don't know what's coming. I know what's coming in that building, and I am
excited.
Let me just say, there will be a Strix smoothie.
Ooh. Strychnine? A strychnine?
Well, we can't call it strychnine because nobody will buy it. Because nobody will buy it. Nobody will buy it. But we can call it Strix sauce.
Strix sauce. The sticky.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to what's coming. We just need to get there. We just need to get there.
Let's get to the ID real quick. We'll be back in a sec.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Well, GP, the other reason people wanted to reach out to you so much today was for the second year in a row, we get a laugh at the Cowboys in the divisional round. First, it's a late spike, and then it's putting your one-time franchise cornerstone running back at center to get leveled.
That owner ain't loyal.
Them owners ain't loyal.
Them owners ain't loyal. Them offensive coordinators aren't loyal. Look, Dallas is the prototype for a lot of things that go wrong, in that you burn out your stars and then disable them and then dispose of them. And you ran Zeke into the ground, except for you didn't know how to use them when it mattered, right? In games that mattered in the postseason, where you need the grinder, and then you go away from that. You go get cute instead of being functional. And then yesterday, listen, the moment an offensive coordinator or a coach says, hey, I've got an idea, and we put Zeke at center, is the moment you fire that coach. Because there's nothing. I don't care what kind of razzle-dazzle you have. Put Zeke outside. Like, Zeke's earned the right to be outside. Don't put him in front of a 320-pound dude and expect him to hold water. Right? Because what 325-pound dude gets a free shot at Zeke and then lets him run down the field? No,
not a one.
Not a one. Not a one. And nobody stood up for Zeke. Nobody stood up for that guy.
Is that on Moore, McCarthy?
That is on all of them. Dak, you want to lead? You wanted to show me that you're the leader of that team? You're the right guy for that team? Step up for your guy, the guy that helped you get paid, the guy that supports you, the guy that carries the mail for you, the guy that picks you up in pass pro, the guy that you dump off to in safety. That dude. And then on a day when not only that, where he had to cover some of Pollard's stuff because Pollard got beaten up. You have to do better for your people. Like, I had Barry Thompson, who comes on my show. Barry and I were on same coaching staff, and we had a special teams coach who decided that on the hands team, so on that hands team for onside kicks, he wanted the best 11 people with hands on the team. All fine in theory, but this is where coaching requires a little bit more common sense.
Mhm.
And I look out there, and he's got all three of our top three quarterbacks on the hands team in the middle of the field.
No way.
And
No.
I literally sprint on the field, grab the football, and hold it hostage, screaming Coach Thompson and the head coach's name because, first of all, I'm angry. Second of all, I'm in total disbelief that high school coaches have done this thing that nobody said no. Like he really thought the three best quarterbacks, because they handle the ball the most, should be on the kickoff team. I said, do you know what happens to those quarterbacks when you put them in the middle of the line?
They get smoked.
They get zeked. That's exactly what happened. They get zeked, heels overhead, butt up in the air, not looking through the ear hole. And I didn't understand it. And so I ran across, and I literally, like, Barry, get over here. You ain't go. And it's the first time in my coaching career I acted as a black man. Strick, you'll understand this. I did the thing that we do when we see something absolutely asinine.
Yeah.
I threw my hands up in the air, my eyes went to the sky, and I walked in a circle. just screaming.
I've had to do that in the media department
Right.
area, so I know where you're
Right.
talking.
And I just went, and he said, what's going on? Somebody go get DP. And I'm like, no, you need to come get me right now, because I just wanted to tell you what your boy, and I gave up ownership of him. This is what your boy did. And he couldn't, and he wants to fight me on it. Like, I'm the special teams guy. I'm like, no, you are no longer a special teams guy. Like, that responsibility is not yours. And nobody stood up for Zeke yesterday. Nobody stood up for CeeDee Lamb, because in that last play, if you're the most elite vertical player on the field, that's your moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if that's a 60-yard play, you're okay with failing 20 yards short because you put the ball in the hands of the best vertical player on the field. So if you rewatch that play, watch the skinny post by CeeDee Lamb, where he gets into what would be in the open windowed face of Dak Prescott, 30 yards downfield, with a defender. There's one over the top. There's two over the top of him, and there's one trailing, and there's one in his pocket. But that's his ball. And to look, and people have wondered, how was this supposed to play out? Well, I would have said that get it to CeeDee Lamb and have Zeke in a full sprint to get down there. But you got to take the pressure off Zeke. You could have done that in an offset with Zeke.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Line up anywhere but center.
Well, he's protected. His hand's not in the dirt. He can protect himself, but get him off the line of scrimmage so he can avoid and evade any pressure. Again, I don't know what Kellen Moore was thinking. I don't know what Mike McCarthy was thinking. I don't know what Dak was thinking. I know what Zeke was thinking. Man,
There's some bull junk right
There's
here.
some bull right here. This is some nonsense. And it was just, the Cowboys have to cowboy. Like, they have to cowboy. That moment, do the thing that you do best in that situation. And that play is not what you do best. It's just not.
Does anyone do that play best?
I don't think anybody in history has done that play. Like, I don't know of any play. First of all, there is no 4th and 80 play.
Right.
Sure. With 5 seconds left on the clock. There just isn't. Right? But if I'm going to roll, what I've done in space is I've made it so the most elite athletes will get the ball in space. And then it's a punt return.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a punt return. That's basically what I want to turn it into, is a punt return. Because some teams will double dumb. They'll put a wide receiver back there. Well, thanks for taking a tackler off the field.
Yeah.
Greatly appreciate you putting a non-defensive dude out there. But then you've put your best tacklers in space. And if there's one tackler per every third of the field, as a playmaker, I got a shot.
And that's all you can ask for in those situations.
I got a shot. Look, even at 60 years old, you put me with one dude to beat in 12 yards. I got a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Give me two.
Mm-hmm.
2 and 24 yards. I got a shot. I don't know what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand it. But the moment they lined up and then they called timeout, I went, this is not gonna not
gonna go well.
You knew there was a collapse. We didn't know where it was. It turned out to be right dead square in the middle. And I don't know, poor routes. Just bad routes to not create
We said
space.
that.
Right. And we've seen it so many times before, too. Like, especially with Kansas City. Think what they did with Kelsey to get to field goal range last year. Think about the couple times they ran that, get it out to Tyreek Hill with 6 blockers ahead of him. Why does that have to be any more complicated than that?
It really doesn't have to be. But when you're in coaching rooms, my greatest frustration is always the coach that says, you know what we ought to try? you know what would be really cool? You know what would be really, really cool to do right here? I've had more coaching room fights followed by that were following those statements, because that's when it lets you know we've lost control. We don't have a plan. As our dude Go 30 says, I'm not an athlete. The moment was too big. I peed down my leg. Like literally, like all of that was in play. And we'll talk about Mr. Go 30 when in old school, because I had a T-shirt Friday, and people misunderstood what the shirt was. I'll go into some detail when we get to it.
What else on old school?
Lots of Bills talk, lots of Cowboys talk. I don't know. I don't see Jay yet, so I don't know whether he's going to make it. I don't know what's up. But if not, me and Austin will carry it through. We got 4 games to talk about from last week, 2 to talk about from this week, and Emmanuel Bandamel. We got a lot to talk about there with the Huskers. So plenty to talk about here in old school.
There you go. That's old school coming up next. He's Eric Strickland back with you tomorrow. Should have Steve Sipple on the docket, get into some NFL.
Oh, you got
and
somebody
other
tomorrow
coincide.
too.
Oh yeah, we've got Kenny Wilhite that's going to be
right.
joining us as well on the block. So it's going to be a great day on the block tomorrow. Come join us. Come join us. 2 to 4.
The one and only Kenny Wilhite tomorrow. Plenty else to do on the block tomorrow. That'll do it for us. Old school DP with you after this.
What are you doing, Sip? I thought the chickens could use some more light in their lives.
So you're building what exactly?
It's a censored switch.
Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Of course. Oh, God.